"Sir, my mommy's crying in the bathroom." The tiny voice trembled like a fragile thread, barely holding itself together. Ethan Cole, billionaire CEO, known for being cold, distant, and unshakably composed, froze in his tracks. He had just stepped out of the elevator on the executive floor when the little girl tugged at his sleeve. Her big brown eyes were wet, shining with fear. She couldn't have been more than 6. "Where is your mom?" Ethan asked, lowering his towering frame to her level. She pointed a shaky finger toward the restroom door down the hallway. "In there. Please, please help her. She won't come out." Ethan wasn't the type to meddle in personal affairs. His life was simple: numbers, contracts, mergers, stock reports, nothing emotional. But something in the girl's voice cracked open a part of him he had sealed years ago. The quiet desperation reminded him of his younger sister, crying in the kitchen after their mother left. He stepped toward the door. Inside, he heard stifled sobs. He hesitated. CEOs didn't walk into bathrooms to comfort crying employees. It wasn't part of his job. It wasn't his world. But today, something was different. Ethan knocked gently. "It's Ethan Cole. Are you all right?" The sobs stopped. Then a shaking voice whispered, "I'm sorry, sir. Please, please go back. I'll be out in a minute." He could hear the shame in her tone, the panic of someone terrified to lose something she desperately needed. "Your daughter is worried about you," he said softly. "Can I come in?" After a long moment, the latch clicked. The door opened only halfway, and a woman in a faded blue uniform stood there. Her eyes were swollen from crying, cheeks blotchy, and her hair tied back in a messy bun. She quickly wiped her face, trying to hide everything. "I'm sorry for the inconvenience, sir," she whispered, head bowed. "I didn't mean to bother anyone. I'll return to cleaning the conference room." "You're not bothering anyone," Ethan said, his voice gentler than he expected. "Tell me what's wrong." She swallowed hard, shaking her head. "It's nothing. Just life." But that wasn't true, and he could see that. Her daughter peeked around Ethan's leg with worry etched across her face. "My name is Lily," the girl said softly. And Mommy couldn't breathe. She was crying too much. The woman closed her eyes in embarrassment. "Lily, please." Ethan waited. Finally, she exhaled, defeated. "I'm Olivia. I work as a cleaner here. And I just got a call from my landlord. We're being evicted. I'm behind on rent. I don't have anywhere for my daughter to sleep tonight." Tears spilled down her face again. Ethan felt something in his chest twist sharply. He knew what eviction looked like. He knew what it meant to lose the roof over your head. He and his sister had lived through it. He knelt down to Lily's level again. "Do you trust me?" She nodded silently. He stood. "Olivia, you're coming with me." Her eyes widened. "Sir, I can't. I'm just a cleaner. I'm not allowed to." "You're a human being," he said firmly. "And your child asked me for help." He guided them both out of the hallway. Employees stared, shocked, but Ethan didn't care. He led them into the elevator, down to the lobby, and straight to his car parked outside. Olivia kept trying to stop him. "Sir, please, I can't accept charity. I just need time, I'll find something." "This isn't charity," Ethan said quietly. "It's responsibility. We all owe each other that at least." She didn't understand what he meant, but she didn't argue again. The car drove through the city until they reached a quiet neighborhood of glass homes and manicured lawns. When they arrived at Ethan's estate, Olivia froze. "We can't stay here," she whispered. "People like us don't belong in places like this." Ethan looked right into her eyes. "You belong anywhere safety is needed. And your daughter deserves safety tonight." Lily clung to her mother's hand, exhausted and hungry. Once inside, the housekeeper immediately helped prepare a spare room. Fresh sheets, warm lights, a place Lily could finally rest her small head. When Lily fell asleep within minutes, Ethan stepped out into the hallway, where Olivia stood hugging her elbows, still trembling with guilt. "I'm sorry," she said again. "You shouldn't have done all this." Ethan leaned against the wall, hands in his pockets. "I didn't do it for you." She looked up, hurt for a moment. "I did it for her," he added. No mother should break down in a bathroom because she fears failing her child. Olivia's eyes filled again, but this time the tears were softer. They talked, not as CEO and cleaning lady, but as two people who had known loss and fear. Olivia explained how she had been working 2 jobs, trying to give Lily a future. Her husband had left when she was pregnant. She had no family, no help. "But I'm not weak," she said, voice strong despite everything. "I can handle anything. I just had a moment." Ethan nodded. Everyone has moments. For the first time in years, someone was being completely honest with him, not because they wanted a favor, a deal, or access to his wealth, but because life had pushed them into truth. That night, he barely slept. He kept thinking about Lily's tiny voice, "My mommy's crying," and it echoed inside him like a forgotten memory from his childhood. The next morning, Olivia was gone from the guest room. Panicked, he searched the house and found her in the kitchen, already cleaning the counters. "You don't need to do that," he said. She jumped slightly. "I'm sorry. I just felt wrong not doing something in return. You're my guest, not my employee." She looked confused. "Then, what am I supposed to do?" Sit, he said. Eat breakfast with me. She hesitated but eventually sat across from him. Lily ran in moments later, bright and smiling. Mommy, this bed was so soft. And I had strawberry milk. Ethan smiled slightly. The joy on the girl's face hit him deeper than he expected. After breakfast, Olivia stood. Sir, thank you for everything. Truly. But we should go now. I'll find somewhere. Maybe a shelter. A shelter. The word stung him. He walked to his office, returned with an envelope, and handed it to her. What is this? She asked. A year's rent. Somewhere safe. Without stress. She stepped back immediately. No, I can't accept that. You can, he said calmly, because you need it. And because one day, when you're able, you'll help someone else. That's how it works. Her lips trembled. Why are you doing this for us? Ethan didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at Lily. When I was your age, he said softly, my mother cried in the bathroom too. But no one came to help her. And no one came for us. Olivia covered her mouth in shock. So I'm doing what someone should have done a long time ago. The room fell silent. Lily walked up to him and gently wrapped her little arms around his waist. Ethan froze, unsure what to do. Slowly, awkwardly, he placed his hand on her back. Thank you, sir, she whispered. 2 days later, Ethan pulled some strings. He found Olivia a full-time job, not as a cleaner, but as an office assistant in the HR department. Daytime hours, better pay, stability. When she read the offer letter, she burst into tears again, but this time, they weren't tears of fear. Sir, I don't know how to repay you, she said. You already did. How? He looked down at Lily again, who was coloring at his desk, humming softly. You reminded me that money means nothing if it can't be used to protect people. You reminded me what being human looks like. From that day on, Ethan wasn't the same CEO anymore. The staff noticed it. He became more patient, more understanding, less cold. Something had shifted. Maybe it was because every morning, Lily would run to his office just to show him her drawings. Or because Olivia would leave a cup of tea on his desk with a shy smile. Maybe it was because he finally felt something that had been missing for so long, connection. Weeks passed. Olivia and Lily found a small apartment close to the company. Their lives slowly rebuilt. One evening, Ethan visited them. Not as a CEO. Not as someone doing charity. But as someone who cared. Lily opened the door and jumped into his arms. We made cookies. Mommy said you like chocolate. He laughed, an honest, warm laugh he hadn't heard from himself in years. Olivia stood in the doorway, cheeks flushed, apron dusted with flour. Welcome, she said softly. We're always happy to see you. Ethan stepped inside. The home was small, but its warmth wrapped around him instantly, something his mansion never had. For the first time, he felt like he belonged somewhere not because of who he was, but because of what he meant to someone. As dinner ended, Lily dozed off on the couch, and Olivia whispered, You changed our lives. Ethan shook his head. You too changed mine. Her eyes softened. How? You reminded me what it feels like, to be needed. To matter. For a long moment, they stood there, two adults brought together by pain, by chance, by a little girl's desperate plea. Something passed between them, something gentle, something blooming. Maybe it wasn't love, not yet, but it was hope, a beginning, and all because a frightened little girl whispered, Sir, my mommy's crying in the bathroom. A sentence that changed 3 lives forever.